Okay. So I think most of you know who I am, but just in case you don't, I'm Lynn. I live in Atlanta. I've been a Lasagna Love volunteer since September of 2020, when I saw Rhiannon on the Today Show. And I started as a chef and then as the Georgia Outreach Coordinator. And last September, I was lucky enough to be tapped to be the Global Outreach Director. And I've been working hard at that for almost a year now. But one of my favorite things to do of everything that I do is to do outreach meetings and trainings with the local leaders. So I really appreciate your joining us today. And what I'm going to do is demystify outreach, to show you that it's not overwhelming and that we provide all these tools that make it a lot less time consuming and just much easier. And who knows, maybe by the end of this, you will be an outreach geek like I am. I mean, nothing gives me more satisfaction than doing a post and getting, hundreds of reactions and comments and, people sharing. And then when we get the new volunteer or the new request notifications or the new volunteer notifications, then, that's really icing on the cake. Just go around real quick. I don't know if you all know each other. Just say your name, where you are, and, how long you've been in Lasagna Love. Let's start with Christina.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Christine. I am down in Los Angeles, and I can't remember when I started. Maybe it was early 2021. And I just love it. I just really enjoy it. So nice to see you all.
Angela?
So I'm Angela, and I live up in Sacramento. I've been with Lasagna Love since October 2020, and I think I've been a leader since November 2020. Yeah, and I just really love it too.
Donna?
Hi, I'm Donna Ingenito. I'm from San Francisco. I've been cooking with Lasagna Love since it was a pandemic activity for me. So I started sometime in either 2020 or 2021. No, it must have been 2021, I think, in around February. And then around July of that same year, I became a local leader and been doing it ever since. And it's extremely rewarding, and I love it very much.
How many of you are having trouble getting used to the local leader instead of regional leader? Me too. I had to change all kinds of documents and everything. Okay, Marcia.
Marcia Duggan. Like Lynn, I joined with the Today Show and became a local leader in January. That local leader thing just doesn't work for me because my region's so huge. I'm not most of my regions. So.
I know, and I've talked to people that feel that way. And from what I understand, the fact that it was regional director and regional leader in the portal was causing some glitches. So they had to change the verbiage a little bit in order for that to, be alleviated. So it's not that they wanted to take anything away from you or make your area seem smaller or anything like that. It was, I think, just a matter of necessity for portal language. So Bethany, hi Bethany. I saw you yesterday.
Marcia, were you finished? Did you want to add anything?
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcia.
Oh, I was just going to say I'm up in Calaveras County, but my region goes from South Lake Tahoe down to Modesto.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm Bethany. I'm in Oakland, and like Marcia, I'm not really local to my region. I have the East Bay area, so Vallejo to Walnut Creek down through Pleasanton and Sunol, so that kind of side of the bay, if you're familiar with it. I joined as a chef in November 2020, and I've been a local leader that I still call a regional leader for a couple months now.
That's great. Now, Bethany, you'll see today how different my presentation is from the one that I gave yesterday. There's a new local leader academy where we're going to be training all the new local leaders. And I did the outreach session yesterday and I didn't write it. I was just reading it. And so I was kind of going rogue a little bit on it to add in my things. I'm just used to doing the training like we're going to do today. So it's what I'm most comfortable with. I'm really glad to see you all. I'm going to share my screen now and hopefully I will be able to find my outreach. Let's see if this is it. I have so many things. Hey, I got it the first time. Can everybody see my screen? How many of you have never seen the outreach toolkit before? You've all seen it? Good. That's the start. And so I'm not going to dive really deep into it because if you've all seen it before, it would be kind of repetitious. I'm just going to highlight a few things and make sure that you know where you need to go when you need to go in this document. This was created, actually, it used to be a spreadsheet. When I was the Georgia outreach leader, I decided that we needed to have some sample posts and some sample emails, and we needed to have a place for the flyers. And so I had this really unwieldy spreadsheet. And I think it scared half of the outreach people in Georgia off just because it looked more menacing than it was. And so when I became the outreach director, I had Amy, who is a tech genius, and she helped me take all of those links that I had in that ugly spreadsheet and put them in, you know, a user-friendly and a much prettier form. So all of the stuff in here I've been using for a long time, but this format is relatively new and I think, you know, it is helpful. Outreach, my mantra right now is that there are outreach opportunities everywhere, just waiting for you to discover them. And when you do, you just have to jump on them and take them and run with them. You know, like a really simple example is you're in the grocery store and you have all of your lasagna ingredients in your cart. And I make 4 at a time. So sometimes that's a lot of sauce and a lot of ricotta. And somebody will say to me, oh, what are you doing? Are you having a party or whatever? And I walk around with these in my purse. And if somebody says, oh, what are you doing with all that? They get a lasagna outreach card. And just a simple opportunity like that to spread the word about Lasagna Love. Outreach, a lot of people are under the misconception that outreach is Facebook posts. Well, that's a really important part of it, but that is not all of it. We have really 3 areas. We have social media, we have reaching out to groups and organizations and companies, and then we have reaching out to the media. So each of the sections in here kind of deals with one of those areas. So this first section is more about social media. When you get a chance, look for these Facebook quick tips. It'll show you how to answer if you have to answer questions to join a group because you don't live in that area. We have answers that you can cut and paste and put in there about why you would like to be in the group. If you are just starting to use a lot of Facebook groups, be sure to check your privacy settings on Facebook. If you're in a lot of groups and you're finding that your Facebook feed is all posts from those groups that you don't really want to see on a regular basis, there's a way to go in and unfollow the group. Are any of you have that situation right now where you want to unfollow groups? Stacy?
I do.
Okay, well, let me show you then. I'll open this up And stop me anytime that you have a question, you know, that you would like me to answer.
Awesome. Can we actually make it a little bit bigger, Lynn, or no?
Let me see, is there a way for me to make it bigger? I don't see a way to go full screen.
Oh, wait, I can. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Got it.
so here's, when you go into a Facebook group, when you join a group, I'll just take you into Facebook. It'll be easier for me to show you. So let's go into one of my groups. This thing is getting in my way. So I'm going to go into my local Lasagna Love group. Where in the corner it says, come on. Sorry. Not cooperating. Let's go into global. So I'm in global, and here's where it says I've joined. If I do this and I click unfollow group, I will still be in the group. I'll still get notifications of comments. I'll still be able to post, but I won't see everything on their feed. Like for a while, I was doing outreach in Las Vegas, Toronto, Canada, and Houston, Texas at the same time. And so I'd open my Facebook feed and I would have all these posts from those places, which I didn't really want to have. So if you unfollow, it doesn't take you out of the group. It doesn't make it that you can't post, and you'll still, if people comment on your post, you'll still get notifications. Just cleans up your Facebook a little bit. So the other tips in here, I talked about the privacy settings. When you join a group, about unfollowing. Here are, you all know about keywords to look for. If you're looking for volunteers, if you put in keywords in the area that you're looking at, volunteer or moms or family or kindness, you might pull up some different groups than you normally would get. If you're doing outreach for volunteers, my suggestion is not to post in free groups, buy nothing groups, buy, sell, and trade groups. If you're doing outreach for requests, those groups might be your go-to place. Otherwise, for volunteers, stay away from them because you'll end up getting more requests.
Got it.
And then here are notes, the notes you can put in for the administrator, you know, if when you're trying to join a group, why you want to be in that group if you don't live there. So that's just some other info to know. The outreach tracker, I'm sure Stacy's talked about that. There's a link here to the main Facebook tracker. Now you'll see California listed at the bottom. You click on California, and that's where you would put any Facebook outreach that you're doing so that you can keep track of what you're doing. And let's just say you need to go away for a month and somebody else has to take over. At least they'll know what you've been doing in the way of outreach. So it's helpful to you, but it's also helpful if somebody needs to kind of follow up on what you've been doing if you're not available. So let's just say you set aside an hour this week and you say, okay, I have an hour to do outreach. You sit down with the outreach toolkit and you go into the sample media, social media posts, and you go through them and you see a post that kind of resonates with you. Let's just take one, for example. You know, if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, do you want to cook with your family? Lasagnas come in all shapes and sizes. Give the gift of time. There are just all kinds of different ideas. Some are mine, some are shared by other people. Here's one about cooking with your family. Look for one that resonates with you. like you think, well, gee, I could have written this, or I would have written this. Well, we're just trying to save you time. So all you have to do is cut and paste. And if you want to use the graphic or the photograph that's with it, you're welcome to. If not, you can put your own photo in, but make sure it's one eye-catching photo or graphic. You don't need to have 6, because the surest way for somebody to just scroll on by is if your post looks really busy and they're going to have to spend a lot of time looking at a lot of pictures or a lot of verbiage. So pick one picture. I'll show you. In here, we have photos for outreach, and there are a couple of them that people seem to gravitate toward. And I see in a lot of posts like this one. I can't tell you, I open up Facebook and I see this on a lot of posts. So people, I think, like that photo. These I borrowed from people on Facebook with their permission. If I see somebody post a cool lasagna picture on Facebook, I'll usually ask if I can borrow it and put it in here. This one is actually a photo that was sent to our matching coordinator here in Georgia from a family that one of our chefs delivered to, with I think 12 or 14 kids. Oh, Denise is here. So, you know, grab a photo that you think will resonate with people. In the next section, we have all these holiday and seasonal posts, which I'm soon going to have to start changing the dates on. And then if we go back to the main page, there are posts of the week. And I can't guarantee you that it'll change every week, because sometimes I'm inspired and sometimes I'm not. But like, to give you an example, this week it's life is all about exploring the possibilities. And this is a volunteer post. Then I had some for schools out for the summer, for volunteers and for requests. If you ever have any ideas for a post that you would like to see and you just can't figure out how to word it, just shoot me a Slack message and I'll see if I can put something together for you. Anything that you don't find in the outreach toolkit that you see a need for, if you let me know, I will try to provide it for you. So week 1, you're sitting down, setting aside your hour, you're finding your Facebook groups, big groups that seem like they would be receptive to Lasagna Love, and you're picking a post that you think will read well with your audience. If you're in a mom's group, you know, a post about cooking with your kids or a family activity, you know, think about who your audience is, and just find a post, kind of tweak it for your needs, and cut and paste. Same with the pictures, download them and post them with the picture. With the post. And you can, if you're not doing it all in the same town, you can use the same one 20 times. You know, when I post in Georgia, I'm posting all over the state. And so I feel pretty comfortable if I do a group in each of the towns with the same post. It's very time saving to do that. And be sure to mark on the Facebook tracker when you posted, so that you know when it's time to go back again, because we don't post every week. The only way that you post every week is if you have 100 groups and you want to post 25 each week. Otherwise, do them all in one day and then sit back and don't touch them except for watching for comments until 3 weeks or a month later, because we don't want to bombard the groups with Lasagna Love. I don't think they want to see us every week. The only exception is like National Lasagna Week. Let's just say that you posted the week before or 2 weeks before about summer, you know, school's out for the summer, and you say, oh, gee, I really need to post for National Lasagna Week. That's okay. It's a special occasion. There'll be special posts that you can post. We're trying to get 1,000 new volunteers that week. We're trying to deliver 10,000 lasagnas that week. So the week before we can start, putting out that information. So you've got your week 1, you've got your hour for outreach. Does an hour seem overwhelming? No, it's not. It's quick. It goes really quick. The next week, okay, what are we going to do for outreach in our hour that we put aside this week? We're going to go to groups and organizations. And there's a list here of, ideas. I'm assuming most of you are trying to get volunteers, but we have everything covered here. So the best choices for reaching out, for inviting requests, a list, and for volunteers. So the Chamber of Commerce, Rotary Club, corporations, anybody you can think of who might be interested in starting a new volunteer opportunity. And then, so what do? We find these groups online. Let's say we find the Rotary Club in Pasadena, and we want to say, hey, we're here, can you help us get some volunteers? Or can you help us get the word out to get some requests? So then we go into this listing of sample emails. And there are a couple different ones in here, some written by me, some written by other people. This one is geared toward companies and corporations to see whether we can get them to get their employees to put in volunteer hours at Lasagna Love. Wherever you can think of, where there might be civic-minded people who, if they're in Rotary, if they're in the PTA, on the PTA board, if they're in a women's club in town, they may be the kind of person that would also enjoy being in Lasagna Love. So there's also a fact sheet that you can attach and send with the emails with information that isn't in the letter. These second group of emails is more if you're looking for partnerships, if you're looking for more in looking for requests than volunteers. And this one I just stuck in. It's not really outreach, but it has helped me. It's a letter that you can send to companies or stores to see whether you can get them behind you to provide ingredients for your chefs. And I was lucky enough early on to send a letter to Muller's Noodles. I don't know, I think they're everywhere. And the distributor got in touch with me and said, I would love to help you with this. And so whenever I run low on lasagna noodles, I send Jim an email and say, I'm running low. And he sends me 9 cases of lasagna noodles with 12 boxes in each case. So if you're lucky enough to find somebody at the other end of that email that has the ability to do it, I think most of the lasagna noodles I get are ones that are discontinued. I get them from, I get them in Target boxes. I get them in Heeb boxes. Heeb is in Texas. Do you have Heeb in California? We don't have it here either. But it doesn't matter. They're all the same. They're all Muller's noodles. They're just packaged in a different way. So this, and somebody, I sent this to somebody this morning on Slack who wanted to know how to approach Costco for, a donation or for coupons or whatever. So, use that. It can't hurt. The worst they can do is say no. Oh, here's Bob. And then the last thing in this grouping is the PowerPoint presentation. And hi, Bob. And let's just say that you got in touch with the Rotary Club and they say, this Lasagna Love sounds great. Would you come and speak at a meeting? Maybe we could get some interest. So if you are so disposed to do that, you say, is it possible for me to bring a PowerPoint presentation? And you could send the link to them and hopefully they have a setup to put it up. I use this, we haven't been doing too much in-person speaking because of COVID, but I did just do one recently at a newcomers club. I thought that would be a great place to get some new volunteers. And you can look at the PowerPoint later. It's just basic information about Lasagna Love. It's talking points so that you don't have to keep it all in your head or have a piece of paper in front of you. You just run the PowerPoint and it will remind you the different things that you want to include in your presentation. Plus, it's really good because it puts our logo out there and, you know, kind of, they have a visual recognition of who we are by our logo and our branding. Okay, so we have week 1, social media, an hour. Week 2, we're writing emails to groups, organizations, corporations. And then what do we do the next week? Whoa, wait, I forgot this part. This is a good part. There's a lot of meat in this section, the flyers and logos. It's not just logos and it's not just a request or a volunteer flyer. There are pull tab flyers, there are bookmarks, there's a crossword puzzle for outreach, there are brochures. Here, I'll give you an example. You know, like if you're doing a farmer's market and you want some pretty display things, this is, you know, everything that people need to know about Lasagna Love. And it says, you know, when you join Lasagna Love, you're joining one of the fastest growing movements in the world. And it has all kinds of information. So all of this is at your disposal. You don't have to come to me, you know, and ask for them. If you, like during Teacher Appreciation Week, we had special request flyers that we did for teachers. We have some for healthcare workers. We have, you know, and if you think of one that's not here, I'll do it if you need it. So just, you know, come to this section if you need any flyers to send people or if you need anything to print out. I know that Stacy has an outreach budget and she may, you know, have some stuff available to you. If not, let me know. Okay, so we're on to week 3, and that's a big one because it's media. So we can post all we want on Facebook. People sometimes are skeptical and they'll say, wait, you want to give us a free meal? What's the catch? You know? And so we have to get past that obstacle. But if people see it on TV, or they see it in the newspaper, or they see it on an online publication, all of a sudden it's like it has validity. Because if I'm seeing it, you know, on the Today Show or on Kelly Clarkson or, you know, something like that, you know, it's like, okay, you know, this is a real thing. So we want to reach out to media. So you reach out to your local newspapers, your local TV stations, any online publications, local magazines. I just, we have this, I live in Alpharetta, Georgia, and we have this thing called, I don't see myself. Can you see it? Okay, so it's Alpharetta Neighbors, and they just put in, okay, there I am. They just put this article about lasagna in the local little magazine. So just go online and get contact information, email them. There's an email here, a sample email to send to newspapers and TVs. If they happen to call you and say, would you do an interview? We have talking points here. There's a Lasagna Love press release here. Lots of information that you have at your fingertips. And if you get the opportunity and you are uncomfortable doing it, just, you know, reach out to Stacy or reach out to one of your chefs. If you have somebody who you think would be the kind of person that is outgoing and loves Lasagna Love and is engaged, let a chef do it. It's okay to pass that on to other people. So we have 3 weeks. We have social media, we have the groups, we have media. So then what do we do the next week? We can go back to social media. The next week, the groups that you wrote to, if you haven't heard back, you do follow-up. You get on the phone, you send a follow-up email. Media, I have found that my follow-up to them is usually a phone call, telling them that I sent an email and, wanting to see whether they received it. 1 week here in Georgia, I followed up with phone calls to 2 local newspapers. And I think they have a hard time saying no when they actually have you on the phone. So I was able to get 2 articles in 2 different areas in Georgia that week. So, do what you feel comfortable doing. If you're not comfortable making phone calls, don't do it. Send a second email. I will tell you that probably for every 10 emails that you send out, you may get 1 response. Don't think it's you, it's just the nature of the beast. Also, sometimes you'll send an email and that person will not respond, but they may pass it on to someone. I was working on Mississippi outreach and I wrote to the Chamber of Commerce in Biloxi, Mississippi, never heard from them. Then I get an email from this person who's part of this volunteer hub in Mississippi, where they have a volunteer network. And she said, the Chamber of Commerce forwarded me your email because they thought I might be able to help you more than they could. So, the networking, is always going on, which is really, really good. I'm going to stop here for a second and take any questions that you might have. I'm going to stop the share so I can see you all. Was that repetitive for most of you? Did you get any additional information that you find helpful? You can help me in, how I do these training sessions with your feedback. If not now, then you can feed me feedback later. I see chat questions. Wait a second. Okay, Angelo, does what have updated stats?
I was talking about the PowerPoint. I was wondering if it.
I update it anytime that we update the numbers, and watch, because soon, very soon, we're going to update again. What I hear is that we may hit the 1 million individuals impacted by National Lasagna Day. 1 million.
I mean, we're feeding 1,800 families a day.
Yes.
It's
Wasn't that
just
amazing? We just heard
Yes.
that last night. So yes, anytime I'm in a Slack channel where every time we have to update anything, it goes in there, and immediately I get on there and I go through the whole outreach toolkit and I update everything. So like the numbers, how many lasagnas we've served, how many people, how many volunteers we have. Anytime an update comes through, all of that gets updated. And if you ever see anything in there that's not, let me know, please, because I try really hard to keep it all updated. The PowerPoint, it's not dated, but the PowerPoint does have the latest numbers. Thank you. It does. And you share the GMA or Kelly Clarkson. Yep, it's a great idea. It does. You agree with me that it validates that we're a real organization. I'm glad that's not just kind of my thing in my brain. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. I'm working on a bunch of things, and I can share a couple of them with you because you may in your area want to participate. And if you do, you can let me know. Christine and I have been talking a lot about the Ronald McDonald House in Pasadena. And we were lucky enough to be included in the Ronald McDonald House Charity Donor Directory, which goes out to all the Ronald McDonald houses in the country. And a lot of them, well, not a lot, some of them have reached out to me and are interested. And so I have been putting them in touch with the local leaders, and I've also been sending them, like a whole stack of cards. And the cards are distributed to the families as they leave the house so that they know that they can request a meal from Lasagna Love when they get home and they're trying to navigate like that new normal with a sick child. So Ronald McDonald House is one. The second is Hope Lodge, which is very much like the Ronald McDonald House, except it's run by the American Cancer Society. And it is not just for families of children, but families of any person with cancer. And so it's very much the same. And we're doing a pilot project now with 5 Hope Lodges. Just to get it going, I asked Steph to check the numbers and give me, of their 32 locations, the 5 that we have the most chefs who could take care of this. And she gave me 5 places, none in California, I don't think. But if you have a lot of chefs that are not getting matched and you want to get involved in any of these things, let me know and I'll see if there's an opportunity. There's a third one that's coming up. I have a meeting next week, and I feel pretty comfortable that we're also going to get involved with them. It's the Hospital Hospitality Network. I had never heard of them, but they are a group. Let's just say that you have somebody in a hospital in a town where there's not a Ronald McDonald House and there's not a Hope Lodge. You contact them, you go on their website and you put in the name of the town where you have a loved one in the hospital and you don't live there and you want to be staying nearby the hospital. They have a list of these hospitality homes that you can stay in. And so we're going to try to get involved with them as well, in case there are chefs in those areas that are not being matched, and we want to keep them busy and engaged, and that'll be another possibility. The fourth possibility, if you have chefs that, or even if you have want to have partnerships that you can do monthly, it's called Family Promise. And it is a network of affiliates that support homeless families. And we're starting off with about 12 of them, I think, around the country. And the local leaders will be connected with the director of the affiliate, and they can arrange to drop off meals once a month. It's not directly to the families, it's to the facility where the affiliate is. So, all of these are like outside the box type things that are still outreach. If you hear of anything like this and you want me to pursue it, I'm happy to. If it's national, I definitely will. If it's local and you want to pursue it and you need help, then you just let me know. Yes, Stacy?
Is the Family Promise nationwide?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I think
to know.
they're not in every state,
Mhm.
that they have a lot of them.
Okay.
I don't even know the number of them, but there are a
Yeah,
lot.
because I had not heard of that, but that'd be an option because we support a few homeless shelters, one in specific for youth, and
Mhm.
so I want to look into that.
Yeah, so look up Family Promise if you're interested. I'll get the volunteer director that I'm working with to check out the house in that area. And
Okay.
she was great. She got all the waivers signed for me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we have waivers signed for all of the Hope Lodges as well,
Sure.
nationwide. So, I mean, besides, writing posts, this has been, one of the things that I've been busy working on,
Mhm.
just to provide some other opportunities for the local leaders. Let me ask you, how many of you are doing outreach solely for volunteers at this moment? Okay, the rest of you only for requests or for both?
Sorry, no,
Well-
I'm volunteers only.
I
You're
really need
volunteers only?
volunteers too. That's
Okay.
the main thing for me, for sure.
Yeah, yep.
Volunteers only here.
Yeah, so just be careful when you do a post. If you're only looking for volunteers, when you put the link, always put the /volunteers on it. It makes it just that little bit harder for somebody to go in and request. Somebody told me they posted one of the posts that was for requests and they got 5 volunteers. And that happens, you know. I try to make the wording very specific. And then if people ask, like if you are looking for volunteers, sometimes people will ask in the comments, you know, or say, I really could use a meal. And so then I'm really careful to say, we welcome all requests. I just need to let you know that we are currently looking for volunteers in your area, and it may take a little time for us to get to your request, but I would never turn anybody away. They need to know that what we need now are volunteers so that we can eventually, you know, serve them a meal. But outreach, and, you know, I know you all have a lot of responsibilities as local leaders. You know, you do matching and you manage your chefs, but, and I might be a little biased, I feel like outreach is like the single most important thing that we do. Because let's face it, if we don't do outreach, if we don't get volunteers and we don't get requests, there's not going to be any Lasagna Love. I mean, that's the bottom line. What we do, we can do because we do the outreach. And so I don't want it to be overwhelming for you. I want it to, like, for me, it's a fun challenge. And I hope that I pass that feeling on to you, because I don't want it to be overwhelming. I don't want it to be time consuming. And if there's anything ever that you need from me, you know that you can get me on Slack almost anytime. I think I've had conversations with all of you at one time or another on Slack. And I, you know, except for when I'm actually going on a real vacation and I'm not allowed to bring my computer with me, other than that time, I'm always available to all of you.
Lynn, this was super helpful for me, like especially the way you organized it by week, you know, and just do this for an hour. Like for me, that just makes it more manageable seeming. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you are so welcome.
I had a question about, I wondered if you've done, or if Lasagna Love has done any coordinated outreach to scouts, to Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, because it seems like that there's such an opportunity there. You know, girls trying to do their gold award or silver award, or boys with the equivalent.
Yeah,
seems
well,
like-
we're actually working on a badge right now.
Great. Okay.
It's not what's the difference? There's a badge and there's what's the other thing? A patch. It's not a patch. I did this whole thing. I wrote to the Girl Scouts of America, and anybody can make a badge. And so we're going to have a Lasagna Love badge. And there are many areas here in Georgia where we often get Girl Scout troops who want to cook for us. Last summer, we did a cook day in a church with a few Girl Scout troops, and they made 85 lasagnas for us. And we used them for backlog. So watch for, as soon as the patch is done, badge. The badge is done. I plan to put out a like welcome scout post. I didn't want to do it until we have the badge, because I think that might be something that would, you know, be attractive. Maybe the picture will be the badge, you know, join us, cook some lasagnas, and, you know, earn a badge. what's the ETA on the badge? That's a good question.
I'm hoping fall.
I'm hoping that I get a copy of what it's gonna look like next week.
Oh, wow.
Because Galit, who is the Georgia matching coordinator, is really active in Girl Scouts here in Georgia. And Kelly Angelina was asking about a badge. She's an RD. And so the two of them were going to work together, and Marcy was going to be involved because Marcy has some scouts or has a Girl Scout. And I asked Galit about it yesterday. I've been kind of nudging her and nagging her. And she said when she's away this week, when she gets back next week, she's going to try to come up with a, you know, a picture of what it would look like. And then we've got to get it passed by leadership as far as the cost. The more you make, the less expensive they are. So let's say we make 1,000 of them. I'm sure that we would go through them and they would just be, you know, 50 cents a piece or whatever. So I think that would be a nice incentive to get scout groups in. And I would really like for it to be sooner rather than later so we can catch them this summer. So I'm glad you asked that question because I actually had an answer for it.
Thank you. That really sounds great.
We're good? Okay. This is exciting. 4-H groups. That's a good idea. Not tried that. And I bet there are a bunch of them that do cooking. Okay, Angela, let's you and I figure that out and see if we can put something out there. Maybe I can write a letter to the National 4-H organization and see whether we can get them involved in some volunteer opportunities. If
That
you
would be great. And if
send
we
me
had
a
a,
message and
Okay.
remind me, and I'll look into it. Great. Anybody else have any ideas?
I will
Um,
say I just have a new volunteer that just signed up, and she's some sort of high mucky muck at Occidental College, like in their community outreach, I don't know, Office of the President, something. So super excited to see her, her little, you know, byline on her email. She just started and she has COVID, so she's taking a break before she starts. So I'm going to let her sort of get acclimated and do a few matches, and then I'm going to see. I don't know, it'd be great if we could, you know, get her some postcards or flyers or whatever, because I'm sure she could probably recruit students that need meals and then potentially students that could help cook for us.
Absolutely.
So I was excited
There
about that.
are, at the colleges, we find that some of the fraternities have a volunteer hour requirement. The only problem we have with students cooking is they don't really have much of a budget. But if the fraternity foots the bill, it could work. Because we've been really trying to figure out how to get colleges involved, even if the professors are interested in volunteering. It's a great outlet for outreach. Yeah.
So I was actually wondering about that, about the fraternities and sororities. I don't really know how that all works because I didn't participate, but is there a letter, or I'm not sure like what their requirements are about doing volunteer work. I just know that they do. So
I think there is a letter. I'll have to look.
is there, if you, yeah, I'd like to find that because I don't
Mhm.
want to say the wrong thing. I'd like to know what I'm talking about when I reach out to them.
Yeah.
But
I
there's
do
just, you
think
know, there's
there
3 colleges, right, you know, in my area that I could reach out to.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that I did a letter. Whether I put it in the toolkit is another story. I'll look for it. If it's not in the toolkit, I'll send it to you and put it there.
Great.
Send that to me in a Slack message too,
Okay.
just so I don't forget.
Lynn, I have a question and I don't
Yeah.
know if this is in your bailiwick, but do you have any advice for converting interest into actual volunteers? Because what I'm getting a lot of is people saying, oh, that sounds fabulous. And then I never hear from them again.
I would let those people know that they can do it one time and see if it's
Exactly.
their
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You're exactly right. One of the posts that I just did was like a begging post because we had all these requests here
Mhm.
and so it was a begging post and it said, please, would you just, try once. And if it's not for you, we understand. And then at the end I put, but I know you'll love it.
I saw that one. Yeah, that was good.
Like,
Yeah. So that is a good idea to suggest that they try it once. If they don't feel like they want to volunteer, maybe they want to donate to National Lasagna Love, or maybe they want to help a local chef with an Amazon wish list. Do you all have Amazon wish lists? I get asked when I post, people say I can't cook, or I don't have time to volunteer, but I would like to help and I would like to keep it local. So we have two things here. We have a Venmo account just for the local Georgia Lasagna Love. And we also, a lot of us have Amazon wish lists. So I will ask them, what would you prefer to do? And if they want my wish list, I send my wish list, they send me things, and then I share the stuff with the other local chefs. So, just because they think it sounds wonderful, maybe they don't join because they don't have time or they don't have the money to join. And so you can offer that, there are a lot of ways that you can help. You can volunteer, you can donate, you can, support us in other ways. Or you can just spread the word for us. Don't join, but just tell everybody you know about Lasagna Love.
I just had a brainstorm idea.
Oh,
that has
good. What?
a little bit. So I was thinking, what if there were people who didn't feel comfortable cooking, just didn't have the time or the money, but would be happy to pick up and deliver? Because I do have people who don't have the time to do the delivery part, so they've backed off for a while. Then it just crossed my mind, what if we had a partnership with Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, something like that, where they...
Yeah, I don't think that will work, and I'll tell you why. I was just told that one of the or a bunch of people, when they do the exit surveys, when they leave, some said that they do not like it because they feel like they're being treated like DoorDash or
Oh,
Grubhub or, and so
that makes sense.
I was kind of told to, the tone of the posts to make sure that it was understood that we weren't just a delivery service.
Right.
So I think that it's a great idea. And where I thought you were going was if there were people who did not want to cook, but wanted to deliver, say,
And I was.
yes, go ahead, join us. We'll pause your account and we'll hook you up with people who want to cook, but who can't drive. Like I work the volunteer inbox a lot, and we sometimes get people that say, I don't cook, I can't cook, but I have a car and I can deliver. And so I always hook them up with the, regional leader or the local leader and say, this person is interested, do you have a chef who would prefer not to deliver? And we do have some. We have some that don't want to deliver because they would be alone and are concerned about going to certain places. We have people who don't have reliable cars. I had last week here, I had someone whose car broke down and she wasn't going to have a car for a week. And so I ended up delivering her lasagna for her. So it's a great idea. As long as we keep it within Lasagna Love volunteers, and they would still have to sign up as a volunteer, even if because of they'll be given information about the recipients, so they have to go in and they have to sign the waivers and everything so that we know they know about keeping the privacy of our recipients, because they will actually know where they live if they deliver them. So, a lot of the things that go on in Lasagna Love, we sometimes wonder, why are they doing this, or why do we have to do it this way? And usually there is, like a good reason behind it. I didn't always think that, but now that, I can sometimes get the reasons from people, I understand all the need for, the legal stuff that we have to contend with. Something just came out in an email, and then someone got a Facebook message about some area board of health telling this woman that Lasagna Love should not be allowed to deliver food, that all food delivered should be cooked in a commercial kitchen. And so we had to draft an email to send her talking about the Good Samaritan Act, and, that all the chefs, have this training, and, that the waivers are signed by the recipients. So, we have to be on the lookout to, stop the misinformation that might come up in our areas. So I'm going way off the topic of outreach, but if you ever have any questions, if I don't have answers, I might know where to get them. So I'm happy to help. Go out and do wonderful outreach out there in California, and be in touch with me if I can help you in any way. Stacy, did I cover everything that you were hoping?
Yes, and I also think it was good to include the little tidbit about specifying in your, posts. So, because that does happen, right? We post for requests and we get the opposite. So I liked how you talked about those groups. The Buy Nothing groups is probably a little better for requests. And so I think that's helpful. I also wanted to say, so my daughter is a Girl Scout, and she's been for a few years now, and I have some experience with the badge.
Great.
We were able to get one for her horseback riding, and so the girls participated. So I am open to helping with that.
Great. Do you
we've
have
also done-
a supplier? Where did you get them
Yes.
from?
Yes.
Would you send that to me?
Yes.
Okay.
And we also did one for like an Italian kitchen cooking. I almost said cooking. And so that was fun too. Like you said, you can do any sort of badge. And it's fun for the girls. And I was really surprised. I mean, even the little ones, they want to be involved. They want to help cook. So I was actually thinking of my leaders want me to do a Zoom with my daughter on how to assemble and make a lasagna. So that's something I'll probably do in the fall when school gets back. So, but thank you
That'll
so
be great.
much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you win the prize for getting the most number of local leaders to a training session with me.
It was a good turnout. I'm
It was
so
a
happy to
great
see
turnout.
everyone.
It was a
Yeah.
great turnout, and I'm happy to meet some of you who I haven't, and see those of you who I see regularly. And just know that I'm here if you need me for anything outreach.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you
so
so much.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Have
Bye,
a nice
everyone.
week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey.
Bye, Stacy.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.